What is going on, CineNerds? We got a special one for you tonight. I made the mistake of choosing Ichi the Killer. So without further ado, I'm Ryan.
And I am GP Cross, and I've got some shit to say.
Well, all right. So let me dig in a little bit before you go first, or before you jump in. Uh, I'm just going to say this. Both JP and I, in a discussion earlier today, we both said the same thing. We had seen this movie once, but didn't remember a damn thing about it. So I remember just off the top of my head, this just being a fucking rad action packed movie, kind of had manga vibes. And I was like, sweet, this will be a cool one to go back and see and kind of get a fresh take on. All I could think from my initial impression was JP's going to hate me. JP's going to hate me. Because this is literally everything in a movie that makes JP's skin crawl.
Yeah, so off the rip, and I had seen this movie one time, and when the movie first came out, I had a friend that I used to work with. His name was Jeff, and for the life of me, I can't remember his last name now. So I mean, this has been where did this come out? Like 25 years ago now, or something like that. 25 years ago.
2001.
Yeah, so yeah, 25 years ago. So and I had seen this when it not long after it came out, and so this friend of mine named Jeff that I used to work with, he actually comes to my house and brings this movie and says, "You have to see." He was really big into Italian horror. He was big into Japanese horror. You know, he introduced me to a lot of cool films. You know, like the Japanese zombie film Versus, which I love, and he introduced me to a lot of Italian horror at the time, the stuff that I hadn't seen. Um, but so he brings this film Ichi the Killer, which from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, I swear when this movie came out, it was called Ichi One.
Well, Ichi means one in
Yeah,
Japanese. So
but
that's why he has that one on his back.
I swear the DVD that he brought to my house said Ichi One the Killer, um, on the cover. I could be wrong, but I swear it did because
It,
I called it Ichi One forever because that's how I remembered it on the cover.
if he got a special version of it, that's very possible because that would make sense.
Yeah, so he brings this movie over and he's like, dude, you have to see this movie. This is like one of my favorite movies I've seen in forever, and it's become one of my favorite movies. And so that night we were drinking, as I did in the early mid 2000s. I would drink a lot. And so we got drunk and put this movie on. And so 20 some year old JP drunk watching Ichi the Killer, I only half paid attention to it because I was drunk. And I just remember seeing a lot of these random, crazy fucking torture and kill scenes and kind of remembering it, kind of like, oh, this is a pretty fucking cool film. Never revisited it. So I couldn't, whenever you said we were going to do it, I had told you today when I literally just watched this movie a couple hours ago. First thing I didn't remember this fucking movie being over 2 hours long. Second thing, I did not remember anything about the plot other than it was kind of this random crazy killer that was killing like uh Japanese mafia type guys, and
They're Yakuza.
that's really all I remembered about the film. And man, there was a lot more to this film than what I remembered, and Jesus fucking Christ.
Essentially, it's a sadist versus a masochist. I mean, it's what it boils down to. And that's where, like, it's for me, like, so the cover art is very, very deceiving because the person who's on the cover, his name's Kakihara.
I'm glad you
And
said it because I wasn't going to attempt.
yeah, well, Kakihara, I had to listen to a bunch of different versions of how to say it. As uncomfortable as the beginning of that is, Kakihara. Anyways, he is who is featured on the front of this, not Ichi, and he is a much better looking killer. And but so when I started rewatching this, I'm thinking like, okay, this guy works for the Yakuza. He's gonna have some kind of a change of pace. Someone's gonna betray him. He's gonna come back and he's gonna kill them all. Like I'm thinking like that. All I really remembered was that all gore and the blood in this was done so that it almost gave you the effect of like it was kind of like Kill Bill what they went for. It had that manga effect of a spray where it was just over the top, crazy great gore. But what I didn't remember was all the fucking perversion and the craziness. Like just to give you an example, I was looking into the trivia at this, and there's the opening credit, like when they go into the start of
Oh,
the
I wanted to
movie.
talk about this. I know where you're going.
So the opening start of this movie, it literally has so Ichi, the actual guy Ichi, he is a very troubled person, and he is watching this basically this woman have SA things happen to her where she's being beaten by a pimp, and he is having his way with her, but he is like getting off on this. And unfortunately, the title after he gets off, he literally runs away as a peeping Tom, and the screen shows the title of the movie and it's what looks like semen. Well, apparently it's real semen. So it is quite the way to start a movie, and that's something that's not ever talked about. It's just implied that it's semen, but then to find out it's real, that was just a little unnecessary. I felt.
Well, what's funny is I watched this movie, and literally I have like a whole book of just random thoughts and stuff that I wrote as I was watching this film, as I do when I watch these films. And one of the things I wrote was first thing I wrote was I already talked about it. I originally remember this being called Ichi One, and I didn't know it was a manga. Um,
Yep.
okay, then like the fifth note, I literally wrote like 5 or 6 things within the first 3 minutes of this fucking movie. So, like the fifth or sixth thing down, or is that cum on this plant?
Well, yeah, but I
And
didn't.
question mark. And then I went back after I finished the movie and I was looking at and I saw that where the director said that was actually real cum on that plant and all that for the intro. And I was like, oh, this is just so many levels of wrong. Like why would you use real specimen?
Semen. Yeah, that's where I said and meant what I said when I said unnecessary. There's ways to deliver the same message without that. I guess he's going for authenticity. That's not an authenticity I think anyone asked for or needed. But that aside, I do like the baseline of what they're trying to establish here, because you again you've got the Kakihara and Ichi. You've got essentially a sadist and a masochist, sadist and masochist, and what they're trying to establish that baseline is how disturbed each really is. And you come to find out more as the movie progresses, but that was like where we start with him. And I talked about, you love Attack on Titan, and we talked about the crying aspect and how I hated hearing that. This dude, that's how he starts becoming a killer. He gets mad and he starts crying because his anger is crying, and that's when things go crazy. But yeah, the semen scene just took it to another level to establish that baseline. I want to also mention real quick. Sorry, you're pulling your face down dramatically because I know that's going to be good. But I do want to mention as we go into this review that this movie is banned in Malaysia and Germany, and it's okay to own it, but it is banned. It's not allowed to be shown anywhere. And then further, it's banned in Norway to the point of if you are caught with it, you will spend time in jail. So this movie is not for the faint of heart. I just want to make sure everyone knows that if you're once we start talking about this, go into this deeply, you're going to be curious. You're going to want to check it out, and I don't blame you because it's not horrible. It's just very shocking and alarming if you're not ready for it. So we'll go from there.
Oh no, it's pretty fucking horrible. Like this movie, and I hate to give my cards away at the beginning of this fucking episode on my thoughts and everything on this film. But man, this movie is a fucking hard watch, and not just because of the SA stuff. It's hard to keep. Let me reframe. The last 30 to 40 minutes, it's not bad, and it's easy to figure out. It's easy to follow. But that first like hour and a half of this fucking film, and very specifically the first hour of this film, dude, I didn't know what was going on. It was so hard to follow. It was just like I don't understand this movie. Like It was painful. The first hour, hour and a
So
half of this film is painful to watch, and not just because of the SA stuff, the pacing. What we always talk about with the pacing of this film was awful. And this film to be over 2 hours long, man,
I
they could have cut 30+ minutes out of this movie.
I disagree here. The one thing we will have mutual ground on is the essay aspect. I'm never ever going to be okay with that scenario. That scenario never will sit well with me, especially when it's done to this degree. So that is what threw me off in this movie, and definitely will impact my rating at the end. But that aside, you've got two different characters, the sadist and the masochist, and you're trying to establish their characters and their sides and where they're coming from. What they don't really allude to initially, which is a hard thing to grasp onto, is that that Ichi is being guided maliciously by a person named Gigi, and Gigi has a revenge mindset. He wants to get back at the Yakuza for things they've done to him. So Ichi, he's basically planted a series of memories of being bullied as a kid and giving him reason for why he's the way he is. And so he uses that and manipulates Ichi to do his bidding. And he tells Ichi essentially, these are your targets, and they have wronged you. They're worse than the bullies. They're the reason why world's so horrible. This and that. And so Ichi will go into a room and he'll be completely normal and this shy, quiet little person. Then all of a sudden, one of them will do something mean to him to show him he's the bully. And Ichi's superpower is kicks. He's got these crazy giant razor blade things on the back of his boots, and he kicks people and he slices them apart with these razor boots. Um, and so his story, we're understanding, we're getting there, and then you've got the insanity of Kakihara. Kakihara is literally he takes pride and pleasure in torturing people, and he also, one of the things that happens is in the beginning, in that first like half hour, is that Ichi kills one of the Yakuza bosses that Kakihara works for. And so when he does that, Kakihara is on a mission to find this person because Kakihara worked for him, but he also let this Yakuza boss beat him all the time, and that's why he has these scars and these markings, the Chelsea grin, if you will, with the mouth. Because if you look at that picture on the screen right there, those little rings come out and his mouth extends. So it's kind of crazy. It's kind of got that manga vibe there. But anyways, he is in love, not in a homosexual way, but he's in love with the Yakuza boss for the pain he inflicts on him and the pleasure he gives him. So he wants revenge from to get Ichi, and so the whole story kind of builds where you see these two different story arcs coming together, and then you get that last 40 minutes. And yes, you're absolutely right. It is definitely not an easy thing to follow by any means, but I appreciate it after the second watch.
Um, well, and and to me, the first hour plus, I'm gonna say hour plus, is hard for me. It was hard to follow. The dialogue isn't very well, and some of that may be the Japanese English translation and the subtitles. Because I've talked about how that's an issue a lot of times with the translations sometimes in certain films, and so some of the dialogue and the subtitles just was, I hated it and it just didn't work. But then when it got to some of these torture scenes and some of this other stuff that was going on, then it would kind of bring me in a little bit. Like when you get to that 17-minute part where he's torturing this
The
other
suspension,
the suspension, he's got him on these meat hooks or fish hooks. Actually, giant fish hooks is actually what it looks like.
it's
Uh,
like body mod suspensions. It's the
yeah.
it's the hanging stuff.
Um, but and he's torturing him. He's poking him with this giant needle through the mouth and up and through the chin and into his mouth and shit. Then he ends up taking like hot grease and pouring all over him and burning him because he thinks that he's kidnapped his boss or something or done something with his boss. They're trying to find the boss.
Mind you, this is another Yakuza member of the Yakuza
Yeah.
group that he's part of. So when
So,
he's caught doing this, it doesn't go too well.
so this is another thing, and maybe I missed something. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. So after he burns this other Akuza member, uh, he gets in trouble for it. The guy is in a burn unit. Well, later on, he comes back. He hires the people that's manipulating everything to kill this group, or he wants that guy killed that tortured him. The main guy, where you said his name, the scars. Uh,
Kakihara.
yeah, Kakihara. And he pays them like half up front. He says, when it's done, I'll pay you the rest. Well, after that, you never see that guy again. It's like the director forgot that he was a part of the film, and he was a big plot of the film, like within the first hour, and then it was like the last hour, 45 minutes. You never see him again. What the hell happened to this guy?
So Takashi Miike, for those of you who aren't familiar with him, he is a phenomenal Japanese director. He did the audition. He did the remake of 13 Assassins. He has done. I'm sure you'll, if you look up his name, you will know some of the things he's directed. Now that aside, he wanted to go for authenticity fully for this movie because I did read about this. He actually employed the manga. I don't know. I'm never going to say it right, but manga would always be manga to me.
The manga.
Uh, yeah, I know. But anyways, he employed the writer of the manga, and he wanted to be authenticity to the fullest. And the writer claimed that he, as they got towards the end, that he had writer's block and he couldn't fulfill it. So really, this Takashi Miike was winging it. So yeah, some of these things might not have been so tied up as much as he wanted.
Yeah, it was like he's such a big main character the first half of the movie. Then he hires these people, and then you never hear from him again. You don't even know if those old man got paid the rest of the money or what. Like nothing. There's nothing else said about this guy. It was just like he completely forgot this character existed. So there's a lot of quirks like that. However, I still think the film worked better after that guy disappeared and didn't come back. It's when the film actually started pulling together. But I don't know. There's so many issues with this. There's a lot of issues with this movie. I'm just gonna throw that out there. But
As we,
again,
as we, Go ahead.
again, the scenes though, like that torture scene, are great. That scene is great. And there's a scene where they go into a not long after that. Uh, I'm calling him Scars. For you guys, the main bad guy, I'm calling him Scars because I'll never
Kakihara.
remember. I'll never remember Kakihara. So he's Scars. Rest of this episode. So this girl takes Scars to this heroin dealer's house, and it's a quick scene. But he does this thing where he puts his hand on hers, and then he just pushes and like snaps all of her fingers like completely backwards. Like these scenes are amazing. I
Yeah,
can't take.
the body horror in this movie is excellent.
Yeah, yeah. There's so many really great scenes in this film, and with the body horror, that it's like it almost pulls me back into where okay, all right,
So that girl was one of my issues that you just mentioned.
the
Her name's Karen in the movie.
the one he broke her hands, or the girl that took him there.
Oh, the girl that took him there. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, no, she I felt it was really odd and awkward that she would go between Japanese and English just randomly, like they understood
I,
her.
I wrote that in my notes. I was like,
It,
why?
that that bothered me. It's like I was like, stick to one or the other. I mean, it's I actually thought when she started talking the first time, I'm like, are they doing one of those transitions where we all understand they're speaking Japanese now and they're going over to English? Like I thought it was one of those deals. Um,
Oh,
but
it confused me so bad. I was like hitting my remote into the settings, going, "Hey, is there an English dub of this?
yeah,
Like, can I watch this in English and not have to read?" And then it would go back to Japanese, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?" Like, it literally gave me a mind fuck. It confused me.
yeah, there and then back to the torture scene with the suspension. So I read that took 12 hours of makeup to make that scene and that setting and make everything work the way they needed it to. That's pretty impressive. They were that committed.
There's some really good practical effects,
Oh yeah, the talk.
but
So go ahead.
there's a lot of really bad CGI in this too.
I've got a specific moment I can tell you about from my side, but it's towards the end, so I'll wait till I get to that. No, the other thing I was gonna talk about was the uh, oh shit, it flew away. It's gone because I stopped.
Well,
Oh, good.
go ahead. Go ahead. So
Ichi has a thing too where because we're still in this beginning window, this beginning phase. Ichi has a thing where he is playing consistently. He's playing Tekken Tag Tournament, and he's playing as the character Harwang. I'll never that guy's name I can never say.
Hugh Wang.
Well, it's Hwaring. I know the end's ang, but Huarang. I don't know. All I know is that frustrated me. Anyways, that character specifically in Tekken is known for his kicks, but while he's doing it, he's almost like absent. He's almost not there, and that Gigi guy is trying to talk to him and tell him the bullies are back every time and pull him out of it. And that's when he starts going on his little side quests and his little missions. If my cat jumps on the screen, I'm sorry. He's just staring at me right now, so I'm waiting for it.
So, and I almost wanted to go back if I actually thought that I could go back through this film and count the amount of times there was an essay moment or a moment of one of these guys, not just Ichi, but any of these guys that grabbed their dick. Because there is constantly people; these guys are constantly grabbing themselves, and
So
even Scars. There's a scene where he's sitting here talking to. I think it's when he's initially talking to the old man, I believe, and he's sitting there in a chair, and you can see him rubbing himself. Just and it's like
uh,
there's constantly these guys are constantly grabbing themselves.
yeah, there's definitely a perverse. That's the sadist masochist fun. There's definitely that aspect hanging because like Ichi, he is sexually aroused by hurting women. It seems so. In the second he returns to the pimp and the prostitute's place, he's outside of their room again, and this time he enters. And this is after he's actually talked to her. He's gone to where she works at some whorehouse essentially,
Oh
and
yeah, and
he yeah,
got some things going on down there at
but
that
he like
place.
and the reason that that all worked is because she was talking to him about helping her kill him, or at least saying kill him, and that's what turned him on. So he goes to their place again, and he starts doing the things that he did in the beginning, and he literally he enters, and after he kills the pimp, he proceeds to say, "Now I can beat you." Like, "I'll do it for
Yeah,
you."
yeah,
Like, he's thinking, like, that she's choosing that, and so she tries to defend herself, and then that's where that goes down. So, yeah, this those are the I think there's 3 scenes similar to that, those are the ones that really sat with me wrong, and I yeah, those ones I could care if those weren't in the movie, I would've been just fine, but,
yeah, yeah. It's like he's. I mean, he this Ichi is disturbed, and he's
he's being
sexually.
manipulated.
Yeah, he's sexually disturbed. He is being manipulated. He's been brainwashed, but he is very disturbed. He's very sexually disturbed, and he's um. I think it all comes down to sexuality. I mean, he's confused about what should turn him on, and like it's it's like what turns him on is hurting these females or seeing them hurt, and the idea of the essay, and it's disgusting. Like he's not a hero, and but he's kind of portrayed as somewhat kind of the hero in this film,
But kinda not
but
because
kind
he's
of
got
not.
it's
Yeah,
confusing, though, you're right,
it's confusing because he's kind of the hero, but he's kind of the protagonist, but he's kind
but
of
he's
the
not.
antagonist,
Yeah.
and it's there's really no protagonist, but he is the closest thing to a protagonist that we have in the movie.
It's so weird. So like this movie is kind of a love story, not in a sexual way, but kind of between Kakihara and Ichi, because Kakihara wants to be dominated essentially, and Ichi wants to do the punishing. So you do have these weird opposites.
They could have been a match made in heaven had they worked on their differences.
Jesus Christ. Something like that. But yeah, they're the extremes of BDSM. Essentially, is one of the quotes I read, and it's pretty crazy. And to take this movie a little further too, I also read and found out. So at Stockholm Film Festival and at the Toronto Independent Film Festival, they actually issued barf bags for this movie as like their marketing gimmick because they knew what they were working with here.
I didn't find anything like that made me nauseous watching this, but it's just
I had a pull away moment. We'll get to that. It's at the end. I was like, "Ooh, no, I'm good."
yeah. There was something I was like, You know, I think it was the tongue scene that I was a little squeamish. I was like, I don't know about this. You
I
know.
mean, that one I felt was fake. It was good. It was so to give we talked about this torture scene with the suspension hooks. The way that the Yakuza is telling him he has to give up his certain powers and his things that he runs. And he instead of that, he walks over, he kneels down and proceeds to cut off the top of it, or the tip of his tongue and hand that to him as penance for what he's done. And it's accepted, and that's the end of it. And the Yakuza bosses in the room are all shaking and like freaking out. They can't believe that's what's happened. And I don't know how that dude kept talking. He had a little bit of a slur for a few, and then all of a sudden he's back to normal.
Yeah, he was fine.
Oh,
He even he
and
even he even tells the girl, says, "Oh, this will grow back."
what was it? There's another scene where he was licking something to taste it. That
Yeah,
after his tongue was cut off, I was like, "What?"
yeah. It was a lot didn't make sense in this movie. A lot
I
didn't
mean,
make sense.
from the standpoint of approaching it like almost like Kill Bill and a manga aspect, I feel like that's okay. Because I mean, at the end of the day, this was just a kind of hack slash crazy movie. Um, but the essay stuff took it a little far. I'll tell you what, man, that's one thing. Like, I do love a lot of the Korean and Japanese horror movies that are coming out. However, they've always been very prone to the essay and the sexual side of things, the more perverse things, and those things are not. Those don't make for great film to me. So
Yeah, and there's a lot of old animes that I love that have a lot of weird sexual shit in it. Because a lot of that Japanese anime, especially in the '80s and early '90s, it had a lot of freaky shit in it. And like Wicked City is one of my favorite Japanese anime movies that came out in the '80s, and it is constant. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but there is
mhm.
constant, weird sexual shit in it. But man, this I don't know, and there's a lot of these live action mangas and mangas and Japanese anime films that come out that I think are so ridiculous that I really like them. I've talked about the live action English dub of Attack on Titan. I prefer the English dub of that because the English translation is better. But I find those films fun because they're so ridiculous, and even like the Death Note movies, and even like the Tokyo Ghoul live action movies, and even like the old 1990s Fist of the North Star. Like I love
Fist of
all
North
these
Star,
films.
Berserk. I love Berserk.
Did you ever see the live action Fist of the North Star?
Uh, I think I did. I just don't remember. I because I love the anime so much, and I even had the Game Boy Advance video game.
So I love that live action. And actually, I've wanted to review that one, but it's just not available on streaming. Um, because I love that Fist of the North Star live action with Gary Daniels, Castros Mandalore, and Chris Penn, uh, Big Vader, the wrestler, was in it. Tons of great actors, and it's a great Malcolm McDowell's in it. It's just a great '90s action film. But I love a lot of these live action anime films. This one, man, this one just I don't know. There's not anything that I grasped onto in this film, and it's just too much essay. It's too much dialogue that didn't make a lot of sense for a long time throughout the movie for me.
Were that you being racist? There's too much essay.
S A, not essay.
I
I'm
didn't hear a
trying.
difference.
I'm trying to be politically correct. I'm doing my best here.
You
Oh,
can rent or buy your Fist of the North Star on Amazon.
on digital?
Uh, oh, now I said it was there. Now I went to it and it just says see other options.
Yeah, I have it on DVD. Now I own it on DVD. I've wanted to review it, but it's one of those that since I didn't want to like make it difficult for others to watch it.
Yeah. 70. It's $70 to buy the DVD.
Oh, well, I own it. I think I spent $10 on it.
I wonder if that would. No, it wouldn't be on it. I was like, because I have Crunchyroll. I was wondering if it was on that.
I know there's a decent version on YouTube.
Oh yeah, you know what? When all's failed for those kind of movies, YouTube for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So, but altogether though, like the the movie for me, I had forgotten completely about the essay aspects. Those aspects, they definitely did not sit well with me, and that impacts a lot for me. But the rest of the movie, though, I'm here for it. I liked it. It was good.
Ichi kicks a kid.
He doesn't though.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
No, he
he
doesn't.
100%. He kicks a kid that's bullying another kid and
Oh, that kid. Sorry, I thought you were
knocks the
talking about the
kid
ending.
he knocks the kid the fuck out.
I thought you were talking about the kid at the ending.
Oh no. I'm not at the end. He knocks the little bully kid that's bullying the other kid. He knocks that kid out. Like
Well,
he spin kicks him and then that kid just disappeared.
but that's a moment where you're cheering for him. That's the moment.
That
That's you
I will
wanted
be
that to
I
happen.
will be honest with you. I laughed out loud. That was the only scene that I really like.
I liked where
I
the kids were
laughed.
like, the kids were surrounding him. Like the other kids were like, is this old dude gonna do anything? And the kid who's getting bullied is like looking at him like, are you gonna help me or are you just gonna stand there? And Ichi keeps looking away because he's for those of you who have not seen this movie, Ichi is a giant pansy and he does not like confrontation despite being this murderous, crazy bloodbath guy. So he has to literally get angry to bring this out of him. That's when after he gets angry, he starts crying, so on. Well, these little kids, because he's ignoring them, the bullies walk up to him and they start antagonizing him and instigating him, and that's when this happens. And he tosses this kid like he's a rag doll.
Yeah, he literally spin kicks this kid and it's a big thud and all of a sudden he just disappears. He's like gone. And you kind of hear a little whimpering in the background, like you hear him like whimpering on the ground or something. I laughed. And there's a lot. Most of you hear me say I don't like seeing kids and stuff get hurt or this and that in films. I laughed at it because it was so funny. It was ridiculous. I laughed at this scene.
Um, I just realized we're well into this movie. We've been doing this for a while now, so I'm gonna move along here and go towards kind of the end. Is there anything you want to dig in a little deeper in the middle?
Before we get to the end, there's a scene where Ichi goes in, and I want to talk about this scene real quick. And all the Scar's crew is in this room, and Ichi goes in there, and the old man, has him brainwashed. Says, "Hey, this looks like this guy. This looks like all these kids that bullied you," and he sends him in there, and he kills everybody in this room. Like there's like 20, 30 people in this room, and all you see is Ichi go in and blood squirting out the door. You see blood and body parts flying out the door. Now, the thing with this scene, I found it hilarious.
Jeremy's gonna run to this movie if he hasn't seen it.
Yeah, I found this scene hilarious, and I loved the scene. I absolutely loved the scene. Had they not did 90% of that was CGI, like the blood spraying out the door and a lot of that was all CGI, and it looked awful. It's like, why would you not just throw fucking like fake
What
blood?
version did you watch?
It was one on Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi is the 4K one, so that's the new. That's the because it's been remastered and
Yeah,
redone. Uh, that one didn't bother me at all. What bothered me was with Gigi when he disrobed at the end, and he was like before the big fight at the end, and he's like this bound
oh yeah,
bodybuilder,
I got
and
that one in my notes too. I wrote old man CGI face CGI'd
he
on like a
literally like
bodybuilder.
but it looks like a floating face. Like it's just they
Yeah.
took it out and they just put it on this muscle dude, and it was so bad. That one was really bad. I didn't really notice much or care for much with the other scene,
Well,
but that one bothered me.
it was like half the blood was practical, then the other half was CGI, and then you see this practical face sliding down. I think it might have been practical, but it might have been CGI sliding down a wall. And it was some of it was CGI, some of it was practical, but it
Yeah.
didn't work well with each other. It was
What was
weird to me.
what
But
was
no,
funny about that face slide is that it went up on the wall CGI, and then it's like they went practical halfway through, and you could see the transition.
yeah. And the same with the old man. Like literally, it's a bodybuilder, like massive, like Arnold bodybuilder or Lou Ferrigno bodybuilder, and then the old man's head like superimposed on his body, and it
Yeah,
was
that was
like
that was that was rough.
it was literally like if to me it seemed like they wanted to do like what's his name from Dragon Ball Z uh
Oh, the old man, the
the
turtle
old man.
shell. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
For whatever reason, I have a Dragon Ball Z tattoo on my arm, and for whatever reason, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Master Roshi.
Master,
Master
yes.
Roshi. Um, it was like Master Roshi whenever he would rip his shirt off and all be all buff. But it's like that's what they wanted to do with that scene. But the CGI was so bad, superimposing that guy's head on that body that it was
He,
awful.
he just reminded me of Boba Fett. Boba Fett. Master Roshi. Master Roshi. Um, so we get towards the end, and the funny thing is, um, up to this point, Kakihara has been adamantly searching because he wants someone to punish him, adamantly searching for Ichi. And he had not really come into contact with Ichi. And so they make their way up to the rooftop of the building they're at. And when they're there, uh, another one of the Yakuza comes up. And mind you, that's another thing I did want to talk about. All the Yakuza in this movie and the 20-30 he killed in that room, all the Yakuza have guns, but there's only 2 shots fired in the entire movie. One of them is in this scene that I'm about to talk about. So before he gets to the roof, because Gigi is still at the point of manipulating him, it doesn't change. And Gigi tells him that this other Yakuza, because this Yakuza in the middle of the movie, he at one point he felt sorry for him, and I don't really know why or how this connection happens, but apparently that's his like long lost older brother, and that's why he took him out to lunch or something. It was really that was an obscure moment. Do you remember when they're in the restaurant?
I don't think it was actually his brother. I think what I was understanding, like, uh, Ichi was getting beat up by this guy that he at this porn place that he owed money to, and he saw him, but he was reflecting back on another time when he owed somebody money and he was getting beat on, and so he helped Ichi and then picked him up, helped him, and took him out to eat. Later, the old man that's masterminding everything tells him, "This is your long lost brother," trying to manipulate him because he has him brainwashed. I don't think it was actually his brother.
Well, I mean, even if it wasn't, I like the fact that he told him that because it was almost like the Gigi dude. He's like he wasn't one of the bad ones. He doesn't want to see him hurt. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
that's kind of the vibe I was thinking. Plus, the guy's son is the guy's son, who he told him is his brother. The guy's son is seems to be always there. He's kind of like Ichi's shadow. He looks up to Ichi because Ichi's the one who protected him from those bullies, and so the son is kind of always at a distance. They live in this building they're in right now, and so it's Ichi, Kakihara, and this brother figure who comes up. And the brother figure is pointing a gun at him because he's about to fight Kakihara. The brother then has an interaction with Ichi. Ichi approaches, and Ichi's approaching him, and he shoots him in the leg. And all of a sudden, you see Ichi start doing his crying thing. He's losing control, and before Ichi can even realize it, he's done his spin kick with his razor boot, and he has killed this guy who was supposed to be his brother. Well,
In front of his son.
yeah, the son was watching, and so this is kind of where things kind of spiral because Kakihara at this point, he's looking for this battle. He wants someone to punish him, and he was hoping that Ichi's the guy. And Ichi's just laying on the ground crying and can't move. He's shot in the leg and he's crying. Kakihara is trying to pick him up. He's come on, we can't fight like this. We can't fight like this.
Okay. So this is I want to actually say something here because this whole scene I wrote this in quotes.
I want to hear this.
The dialogue. This is what I'm talking about. The dialogue in this film, and I'm sure some of this is the translation from Japanese to English. So he's picking Ichi up, and he's trying to say, we gotta, how are we gonna do this? Would you get up? And he actually says, how can we have our challenge? He doesn't say how can we have our fight now. He says, how can we have our challenge now? Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. Some of the dialogue, like who says challenge in a for a fight, and
Japanese people.
obviously, and
They see, that's like I know in certain languages, certain words don't translate the way we want them to. So, like, I don't think per se there's a word for what they're looking for. So, challenge is probably that acceptable term there. But yeah, it's a little awkward. It's a little weird for sure.
but at this, my gripe with this is if the person who is translating this to English, why would you not retranslate that? Because it's just in text, challenge to fight. It's a simple.
Yeah, but in Dragon Ball, it's like they'll say fight, but they also say challenge, and they like you know what I mean. So like I'm cool with that either way. I guess it's kind of like what they were looking forward to. It's like the final match, the final challenge. I get it, but this is where things get good. For me, I like where this all goes, and I had to go down a little rabbit hole to really understand this ending because this ending had a whole bunch of
I hope you did, because I didn't have a chance to go down a rabbit hole because this ending confused the fuck out of me.
it
Some
confused the
of
fuck out of me too.
some of it did, and some of it didn't. So let's see what you have to say.
So essentially, you've got the little boy. He Kakihara is walking away and he's kneeling by the body of the person that Ichi has just killed, which is the father of the boy. The boy walks over to Ichi on the ground simultaneously because Ichi's still letting out this annoying crying. The boy starts kicking this dude in the stomach over and over. He like, you killed my dad. He's this little kid and he's just kicking away and kicking and kicking. Kakihara does what I would have done probably at this moment because the crying is so bad, and he takes his tools. He has these like giant sewing needles that are like
Yeah,
a foot long. He takes them and he slowly puts them inside of both of his ears to pierce his eardrums to take away his hearing. And I thought he was just trying to torture himself because that's how he gets his rocks off. I think but he just didn't want to hear Ichi anymore. And in his mind, he literally went into an imaginative state, like he was almost like in a state of bliss, and he looks up and all of a sudden Ichi's standing up and the boy's laying on the ground. He's been beheaded by Ichi. And he comes over and Ichi does this crazy spin kick. It hits him in the forehead, so you can kind of see a little mark on the forehead. And then he goes and he like flies down these stairs and he starts to go over a railing and he's teetering back and forth. And then he falls to his death, or what you think is his death. When that happens, I didn't realize that he was basically imagining all this. This was in his mind. This was him getting ready to say goodbye, but he does fall. He falls to his death, and Gigi shows up at the bottom, hoping that Ichi has done these things, hoping that there's some kind of slices on him that he's harmed him because he wants this ultimate payback, and he sees there isn't anything, and he's sad about it. He's like seriously beat up. Well, Ichi's still alive up on the top, and that boy's still kicking the shit out of him.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this was all him in his head, and then they flash to an even cooler moment. It's so
And
where that
this is what confused me is this part. So
so he basically Kakihara was going to his place of happiness where he felt the most alive, and that was the torture room from this yakuza boss where he put all these scars on his face and did the whole thing, and his lip rings aren't, or his rings, his cheek rings aren't in his cheeks, and his mouth full opens and he's just standing in their corner, and it's like almost like his happy place, like his time out before he dies. That's where he wanted to be before he died. And then this part confused me though. So you're at the end, there's a bunch of school kids walking by, and it zooms up, and now Gigi, it's I don't know if Gigi succeeded in his quest to get this vengeance, but he is now hanging from a tree as these kids walking under him. So that was a little weird. And then the person who turns around and looks back, I don't know if that was a little boy or if that was Ichi. I don't know what was happening there. That kind of threw me off because he didn't
okay,
look as young.
yeah, and so that's what confused me. And I actually wrote, so the ending confuses me. The bad guy must have gone crazy, fell to his death while Ichi was still being beat by the kid, which is what you just said. Then the old man is hanging in a tree. A kid looks back, and I wrote, a kid we had not ever seen in this whole movie, and it confused me. Now, the only thing I can figure was I still don't get it. But was that kid supposed to be a young Ichi looking back, or I was
I don't know.
that ending from the hanging? I understood everything until the hanging, and then the random kid looking back at the old man hanging from a tree made zero sense to
So
me.
I do know that there is. So this came out in 2001. There is Koroshia One, which is like a I think it is a series that ran from 1998 to 2001, and that was supposed to be the first part of all this manga stuff. And then Ichi is supposed to be book 0. It's like a prequel to Koroshia. And there is supposedly a sequel to this. So the manga kept going and the manga's got more information to this degree. And the manga, speaking of pacing for the movie, that scene, the torture scene, is like the end of book 2. So that's like in the first 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
So like I'm
yeah,
like they're already at book 2. How many I don't know how many books there are, but dear God.
yeah. This ending lost me. I didn't understand it. So,
Once I
but
went
I
down the
didn't.
rabbit hole,
But I didn't
I
understand a
appreciated
lot
it.
of But I didn't understand a lot of this film. Like the first hour or so, I was lost, and then the last 45 minutes or so, I was like, okay, it's starting to make sense. Okay, I've got it. And then it got to that very end, and I'm like, fucking, phew, gone again. What the fuck happened?
What did it do again?
It went boom.
Phew. All right.
Um, Box office budget.
So this one, I don't. There's no way this is right. Because I think this because it's such a well received manga in Japan. I can't see this being right. But the budget. Guess what the budget was?
Mm, said 2001.
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this movie looks like shit, and
What?
a lot of this movie. I mean, some of the practical stuff looks great,
Yeah,
but
the CGI is rough, but
the CGI is rough, and I don't know. I just don't see this movie being very, very high, budget. I'm gonna say 3 million.
1.4 million.
Yeah. So
But
yeah,
here's where it gets crazy. Guess what the U.S. box office was with this?
I would assume nothing. I don't remember this coming out into the U.S.
I don't either, but it only was 20,000. Now, worldwide, guess
I would imagine it only had a Japanese release. Um, I don't know. We'll say 5 million.
81.3 thousand.
81,000.
That's what it said. So I'm a little perturbed here because I would think like I can understand the world gross being lower or at least coming close to that 1.4 mil, but not that low, especially when this is a Japanese film and it definitely had a theater release in Japan. So I just don't know. I don't know. But at the same time, with so many countries banning it, who knows?
Yeah, I imagine. I never knew this movie actually coming out on to theaters, so I really wasn't expecting any theatrical releases. I wonder if some of those were just film festival price, numbers.
I mean, it's possible.
That would make sense with such a low number on that. That
All right.
it probably never had really had a theatrical.
What's your rating? This is going to be rough, isn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've heard me talk. The essay stuff, it's start to finish. This movie is nothing but essay stuff.
There's three
Very,
essay scenes.
yeah. Well, they're enough, and it's awful. I mean, there's the treatment of women in this film is awful. The characters, everybody is mentally like sick in this film in some shape or form, sexually. This movie is somebody's very confused with how they should perceive sexuality. With this there's just so many issues mentally I have with this movie. Like, to me, the movie drug for a long time. Like the first hour felt like 2 hours, and then the movie's over 2 hours long. Like I was not a fan of this movie at all. Um, some of the gore, some of the torture scenes, and some of the gore was cool. It would bring me back in a little bit. Some of the there's a few scenes here and there that I was like, okay, I laughed, like the kid getting kicked scene. But overall, I hated this movie. I will go as far as to say this is probably the worst, if not one of the worst films that we have reviewed on this show since we started. Um, this bad. I will never revisit this film again. Ichi was awful. He's an awful person. He's an absolutely horrible character. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm going low. I'm going real fucking low. I'm gonna give this a 1.3 nerds.
Honestly, it's higher than I expected. Um,
I almost give it a flat one. I was there, but I've decided to go give it a 1.3 solely because some of the practical effects are really cool.
so for me, I have a different outlook on a lot of this. I probably would have taken this a lot higher if the essay aspects weren't there, and I could have done without the seaman title intro. That was at the 4 minute mark, I believe. But those things aside, I feel like I got a breath of fresh air in a movie in the sense that there wasn't a good guy. And I'm because I'm really sick of good guy, bad guy. I really am at this point. So to me, I kind of liked the you were hoping to have somebody to root for, like a normal movie, but it took you out of that comfort zone. So it made me appreciate the fact that not everything is so cut and dry, not everything's so black and white. I love the action sequences. I love the blood and the gore. I love that they did the gore and the effect of a manga style movie. And I even love the way that Kakihara went into his own little version of what heaven was when he was dying. I like a lot of the aspects here. I don't know that I would revisit this. I don't know if I would ever revisit this. I might look at the prequel or sequel stuff just to see because it's a different director, and I don't think would get the same things. But all in all, I'm going three flat for me. I
Wow.
did, yeah.
You're way above me.
Oh, way above, but at the same time, I'm trying to find the good in this film because there was a lot of good to be seen here. When you take away the essay aspect, the essay aspect really did put a wrench in the spokes for me. I just can't get down with that. I understood what they're going for because this is Yakuza world and things happen and it's reality, but um, I go to movies to escape reality. I got enough of my own shit going on and real life shit. So yeah. So all in all, though, 3 nerds from myself. You got any recommendations?
Yeah, I've got one. Since I was forced to watch this horrible piece of shit film,
Now, to be
my
fair, hold on before you do that. To be fair, we both were forced because we both had a different version of this in our heads from the first time we saw this.
it's fair, it's fair. But since I was forced to watch this horrible piece of shit film, my film recommendation, I am going to recommend everybody go watch Stephen King's The Dark Tower.
Why would you do that to anyone?
Because Matthew McConaughey, Idris Elba, they're great.
I'm going to go anti recommendation and say, don't go watch The Dark Tower ever. Wait till the new series comes out or go read the books. Jesus Christ, is that garbage? He did that. He did this for this response. He won.
What's your film recommendation?
I just gave it. Don't go watch The Dark Tower. Fuck's sake. I don't have one because that threw me off so bad.
Oh, CineNerdsPodcast.com. Like, share, subscribe, follow, do all the things and stuff.
And stuff. Dude, the Vikings banned this in their country. That's all I gotta say. Anyways.
The Vikings don't like this movie. You're not going to.
Tune in next week. We'll see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. on YouTube, guys.
Later, guys.
Later.